Yeah, I'm trying to figure out how I'm going to.
Call to order the City Council meeting for City of East Grand Forks for Tuesday, November 2nd, 2021. Is now 5 o'clock. City Clerk, please call roll.
Mayor Steve Gander.
Here.
Council President Mark Holstead.
Here.
Council Vice President Tim Riopel.
Here.
Council Members Clarence Vetter.
Here.
Dale Helms.
Here.
Tim Johnson.
Here.
Mark Demers. Brian Larson.
Here.
Does Terry McQuarrie please stand for the Pledge of Allegiance?
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
An open forum, an opportunity for members of the public to address the City Council on items not on the current agenda. Items requiring council action may be deferred to staff, boards, and commissions for research and future council agendas if appropriate. Does anybody here need to address the City Council at this time? See none. Approval of minutes for the October 12th work session, October 19th regular meeting, October 19th closed meeting, and October 26th work session.
Move.
Riopel? Second by Helms. Any questions or discussion? Roll call, please.
Vetter.
Yes.
Helms.
Yes.
Riopel.
Yes.
Johnson.
Yes.
Holstead.
Yes.
Demers.
Yes.
Larson.
Yes.
Motion is carried. Scheduled bid lettings, there is none. Scheduled public hearings, there is none. Excuse me. That was none. What the heck? Public hearing for the proposed East Grand Forks 2020 land use plan. There's a motion to open the public hearing.
Move.
Moved by Vetter.
Second.
Second by Riopel. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion is carried. Public hearing is now open. I was just trying to save you time. You know.
Just a couple of things for clarification. First one being, we typically hold our public hearings at the Planning Commission meeting. We missed the deadline for the October meeting. We also felt that the time is not necessarily conducive for public meetings for something that would be for residents as a whole. So holding it at the City Council meeting where we know it's televised, as well as at a time that's more opportune for them to come instead of noon. We felt that that was a better served for our residents, so that's why we're holding the public hearing tonight. The second thing is that this is preliminary approval of the land use plan, and so with some small minor corrections, which you will be forwarded, that were discussed at the work session, including the map for our future planning. We will be including some areas that have been discussed as being annexed in the next 5 to 10 years. We're moving those to short term, and then we're moving some further out to mid and long term. So you'll be getting a copy of that exhibit in an email, as well as it'll get posted on the website. With that new exhibit, we feel that the land use plan is ready to go. We have not received any additional public comment at this point, but it'll be open again until the final approval, which will happen on the 16th of November. So if anybody has any questions.
I have one. Do they need to give official preliminary approval?
Yes, and I think that is further in, isn't it, is new business?
We may have to suspend the rules.
So, and again, it's preliminary approval. The one true thing that we need is we need final approval, which would be approved and adopted by resolution. So that's the one that we need, in fact. But
I did not receive a resolution for preliminary approval.
nope, and we don't do a resolution, and so that is my fault that I forgot to add it to the agenda. So.
Anybody else have anything? Sorry, I'm just writing. I see none. Entertain a motion to close the public hearing.
Thank you.
Move.
Anybody else?
Second.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Public hearing is now closed. Move on to the consent agenda. Items under the consent agenda will be adopted with one motion. However, council members may request individual items be pulled from the consent agenda for discussion and action if they choose. Anyone like 6 through 9 pulled? If not, entertain a motion of 6 through 9, please.
Move.
Moved by Helms, second by Larson. Any questions or discussion? Roll call, please.
Better?
Yes.
Helms?
Yes.
Riepel?
Yes.
Johnson?
Yes.
Olsted?
Yes.
Demers?
Yes.
Larson?
Yes.
Motion is carried. Acknowledge or receipt of reports of officers, boards, and commissions. Regular meeting minutes of Water, Light, Power, and Building Commission for October 6, 2021. Communication, there's none. Old business, there is none. Move on to new business. Number 11, consider approving the Brady Marks and Associates to complete the auditing and reporting for 2021 financials.
Move.
Moved by Riepel,
Second.
second by Johnson. Any questions or discussion? Roll call, please.
Better?
Yes.
Helms?
Yes.
Riepel?
Yes.
Johnson?
Yes.
Olsted?
Yes.
Demers?
Yes.
Larson?
Yes.
Motion is carried. Number 12, consider adopting resolution number 21-11-77, accepting the report of feasibility and setting the improvement hearing for the 20th Street Northwest and 5th Avenue Northwest project for Tuesday, December 7th, 2021.
Move.
Moved by Riepel,
Second.
second by Helms. Questions or discussion? Mr. Demers.
Thank you, Mr. President. So the hearing that we set, is that just the improvement hearing, not the special assessment hearing?
It's the improvement hearing.
Okay. Because I do question on the special assessment schedule, just even wondering if that's necessary at this time, like to have that in there. Looking at the project, when you calculate it, it looks like you took the overall project cost and then basically divided out, or took out like a certain percentage for end benefit and then applied that per running foot for anybody with an end benefit. Is that correct? Or how?
No, basically,
I mean, you came up with two numbers, basically a front foot benefit and an end foot benefit, correct?
yeah, and the end benefit is just 1/3 the front foot benefit. So if, let's say the front foot is $100 a foot, the end benefit is, $33 a foot, basically.
I just wonder on a project like this where you have multiple end benefits affecting different things, going back to our conversation about rectangle streets and blocks, it makes sense to do it like that. But say you have an end benefit that is only, say like on this project, say your end benefit is on 7th, or you're on 20th, you live on 20th and you have an end benefit for that little portion of 7th that goes north.
Fifth,
So,
you mean?
what's that?
For 5th?
No, 7th goes north, isn't it?
Because we're doing 5th and 20th.
Right, but 20th goes this way and then go up 5th or 7th.
Oh, I know.
You go up 7th. So say you have an end benefit for that chunk.
Kind of right here, Mark?
Yeah. So now everybody on that is going to get the same, is going to have a cost similar to someone on 5th Avenue, on the east side of 5th Avenue, that only has, or may have, or maybe that's not the right argument, but say on the south side of 20th, those people have an end benefit that goes, whatever that is, 500 feet long. You know what I mean? So those end benefits aren't equal, but we're charging them equal. I would say that the end benefit for those people on 20th is way more for their benefit than what people on even the south side are paying for their benefit. In a sense, it seems like the people on the end benefit side are paying for the end benefits of other people disproportionately.
Yeah, I mean, I know what you're saying. I mean, we've never done it that way. I mean, we've always just taken our total project cost, divided, calculated out by fronts and ends, and, to split everything evenly. I think you start getting into trying to split up or change different values for end benefits. I think it's going to get really messy.
Well, but the end goal here is to get a project done that shows that people have a benefit that's accessible, or that equals their project, right? So I just think, and obviously we don't run into this project or this problem much because this is a weird street, how it meanders kind of through, and it's two different directions with a court on the side of it, so it doesn't lend itself to just a simple formula, is what my fear is. I mean, I have some other questions about why we're end benefiting some of these people too, but that's my only thought is, I just don't think we should even put this end benefit thing in, because I don't know if it's exactly right. And if we put or not the end benefits, but the assessment role in there as part of this feasibility, I worry that we're going to be tied to it at some point. And what I have another question is, what happens when, how do we manage or log who's paying end benefits on these projects? Because you could potentially end up with some houses not paying end benefits, and then because of the way it's shaped, like, are they getting double end benefited through the process or whatever when you do another set of streets? Or, I don't feel like we have a real good handle on what our master end benefit and front benefit plan is.
Yeah, it's something we just have to manage. I mean, as we do the next project, there's times we got to go back and look at these, assessment rolls that have been filed and adopted and see who got end benefits, so we make sure we're not, doubling up on end benefits or missing someone. It's just something that's part of our job, I guess we got to try to manage.
I think it would be beneficial at some point to have a map of the city with every street mapped out with what the end benefit and all that. And if you had that all agreed upon, you wouldn't have this problem every time.
Well, and the end benefit's going to differ just depending on what your project scope is too. So I don't know how we would ever, I don't know how you'd ever manage that, Mr. Demers, because it's all dependent on your project, where those end benefits go to.
I'm done.
I do think we want to stick to a systematic mathematical analysis for end benefits. I don't think there's much room to make it intuitive, because the minute that you try to make it intuitive, it may not match up with someone else's intuition. And so to run with a clean mathematical analysis that goes halfway down the block, and then to go back on the next project and just make sure where that line was, because sometimes the block is curvy and you want to just make very, very sure that where you broke it the last time is where you break it the next time. That to me would be an important step for fairness. But I think we absolutely have to stay with a mathematical basis more than an intuitive one.
Anybody else have anything?
Can I?
Mr. Demers.
The problem is that they're both mathematical formulas. The one is just, you're taking an entire project and dividing it over all these people. The other is actually calculating out what their end benefit is based on what our ordinances, or not our policy is. Our policy says these people get this end benefit on this road, not these people get end benefits for the entire project divided out by the entire project. And because this is a bigger project which has a couple of different roads, those people could be disadvantaged by just taking the lump sum of the project and dividing it by 1/3 and putting it back in. So.
Better?
No.
Helms?
Yes.
Riepel?
Yes.
Johnson?
Yes.
Olsted?
Yes.
Demers?
No.
What did you said no?
No.
Okay. Larson?
Yes.
Motion is carried. Moving on to number 13, consider approving the purchase of the 2022 Zamboni Model 546 for the Zamboni Company USA for a total of $121,333.05, which includes shipping to East Grand Forks.
Move.
By Johnson.
Second.
Second by Helms. Questions or discussion? Roll call, please.
Better?
Yes.
Helms?
Yes.
Riepel?
Yes.
Johnson?
Yes.
Olsted?
Yes.
Demers?
Yes.
Larson?
Yes.
Motion is carried. Number 14, consider approving the classification made by the Polk County Board to classify parcel 83.04249.00 as non-conservation.
Move. Second.
Second by Riepel. Questions or discussion? Roll call, please.
Better?
Yes.
Helms?
Yes.
Riepel?
Yes.
Johnson?
Yes.
Olsted?
Yes.
Demers?
Yes.
Larson?
I know there was some questions regarding special assessments on this, and I did answer that from Mr. Larson. Essentially, the special assessments get removed, and then after a private buyer would purchase it, then the city would be able to reassess what's left on the special assessments back to that lot. But technically speaking, they're removed once at the forfeiture when it goes and sits down in the state trust, and then when it comes back, we'd have to reassess it.
So then do we have to go through like a assessment hearing and all that, or that's an automatic?
No, it's automatically, we can just contact the county auditor's office, and then anything that was removed because of the forfeiture can be placed back on, but no more.
Can we defer concrete special assessments? Sorry, I didn't ask for. I thought that at one point there was a state regulation or statute that required cities that cities were not allowed to defer special assessments on, especially on concrete paving. I don't know if that's still in effect.
I guess I'm not quite sure of the question, but in this, they've already been assessed.
Right, but we are essentially deferring the payment on those. So I don't know if that's, I would question or ask for research on whether or not that's legal.
We're deferring the payment on those because there's nobody that's paying for them. That's why it went
right, but
forfeiture.
Essentially we have to pay for it. I guess I think what the state statute is not allowing you to do is say we're just going to make our payments on our special assessments, and then once someone picks that up, be able to force them to pay that. I think you can on infrastructure like water and sewer, but I believe at one point there was a
Maybe you and I need to sit down because
that,
I'm not actually understanding the question.
You're saying that we are supposed to be paying it forward, so instead of the 51 and change, we should be paying it down, so let's by now.
Well, we are paying it down. We pay our assessments right now, but we can't take that money that we're paying and then all of a sudden force the person to pay that. Carlos got it.
Carla?
So in essence, we are paying assessments, but we're not paying for a certain assessment. We're just paying the bond back. So when
right,
we
but
pay
the bond,
for the bond,
if you divide it over the total amount, includes that assessment payment for every year.
it includes that property that we actually did the construction on, but we aren't paying per property. We're just pay, you know, whatever the bond and the principal amount is, and then whatever comes in the mix from what's been paid helps pay that.
Right.
So obviously,
in a sense, the city is making up the extra portion of what that part is.
Are you saying that since if we are paying it, we don't have the right to go back to somebody and ask them to pay it because the first person who had this property decided to walk away because he didn't feel like paying for it?
I believe that at least there was, 10 years ago, we were looking at something like this, and we were looking at deferring concrete paving special assessments. And there was some sort of, I don't know if it was in statute or what, but that you were not allowed to defer the payment.
I'll have to look at that, Mr. Demers.
because that's what we've been doing that in Water's Edge now for 15 years.
Yeah, I guess I think I understand what you're saying there, and I guess we could, Ron and I, you can maybe talk about that here a little bit later. I think the difference is the definition of deferring, meaning you're putting in deferring the assessments on it versus where this, I guess technically wasn't deferred, it was assessed to the property, it just was never paid, it went for forfeiture, they just never paid it. It technically isn't deferred, it just is not being paid. So I think that might be the distinction that we would need to clarify. Because I do remember kind of vaguely what you were talking about, that there was some talk about how you defer assessments, but
So
I think I know what you're saying is, but I think this might be a separate situation because I guess it would be in default rather than.
But if it comes to the city, it's not being paid anymore. It's city property again.
Well, it's not city property, though. right now.
Well, it's,
It's tax forfeit, it's
Well, that's,
county property.
part of my thing is like, so the way I think we get around the water's edge is we basically purchase that or that property is ours. We basically have bought down the special assessments and are just charging it as a lot fee onto that. So they aren't going to owe special assessments on water's edge. They're going to just pay off the correct, right? So right now, if you do that on this property, say you give it to the county essentially isn't going to have that property. It's not going to be city property. It's not going to be in default. It's just county property, or else if we end up acquiring it, it'd be city property. And then we'd have to wait until someone purchases it. I guess I would just appreciate if someone would make sure that we're properly assessing this.
Okay, look at it and get back to us then.
Yeah, you wouldn't assess it until, well, basically right now, if it's sold, then it would go to the new property owner, and then anything that's due on it would be reassigned. We'll just say reassessed to it. If it's not purchased and we don't take it and it just becomes state land, then it sits in that state trust with as it's forgiven. We're not responsible for it because it's not our property. And then if somebody buys it, then we can reassess whatever's due on the improvement project back to that property. I do know that, but maybe I'm missing the nuance of your question.
Okay, let's take a look at it. Move on to suspend, make a motion to suspend the rules, please. Moved by Demers.
Second.
Second by Riepel. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Motion is carried. Rules are suspended. Motion to give preliminary approval of the East Grand Forks 2050 land use plan. Moved by Demers.
second.
Second by Vetter. Any questions or discussion? Roll call, please.
Better?
Yes.
Helms?
Yes.
Riepel?
Yes.
Johnson?
Yes.
Olsted? Demers?
Yes.
Larson?
Motion is carried. Move on to claims. Consider authorizing city administrator clerk treasurer to issue payment of reckoned bills and payroll.
Move.
Moved by Johnson.
Second.
Second by Helms. Any questions or discussion? Roll call, please.
Better?
Yes.
Helms?
Yes.
Riepel?
Yes.
Johnson?
Yes.
Olsted?
Yes.
Demers?
Yes.
Larson?
Motion is carried. Mayor Gander.
Things. This Thursday morning, State of the Base. To anyone who signed up to go, please remember to head over there. Had breakfast a couple months ago with Colonel Curry, the new base commander, and he's really, really a nice guy. As we met, I thought I would be happy to have one of my sons serve under you, just because he's clear in his thinking and he's really a good person. And I'm looking forward to hearing his vision for the base for the next year and beyond. Number two, welcome to the new librarian, Lynnea Benton. Saw that in an email that came in, so we're glad to have her on board. Take a look at your email, or you can check out the Campbell Library website if you want to see where she came from and whatnot. Tuesday, December the 7th, 6 o'clock, just wrap around back to that. Sometimes we come into this hall and it's full of people and we're thinking, oh no, this is going to be a little contentious maybe, and yet that's what we do. That's city government, how we do it. But this time is different. We want to see a full house. We want to hear your preference on this paving project for 5th and 20th. So fill the hall. So again, December the 7th, 6 o'clock p.m., a different time, not 5. Fill the hall, and we really want to hear your preference on that question. And we'll be ready to answer any of the questions that you all might have. So please come on over and do that. Finally, safe and productive hunt for anybody going out this weekend. Thanks.
Mr. Vetter.
Thank you, Mr. President. It's come to my attention that we have some individuals that are bow hunting in our greenway. And just a reminder to everyone that it is illegal to hunt in our greenway. And hopefully that coming weekend with deer season opening, we won't have guns going off in our greenway also. So just a reminder, we cannot hunt in our greenway at this point in time. Thank you.
Nothing, thank you. Nothing.
Mr. Johnson.
Nothing, sir.
Mr. Demers.
Nothing to it. Thank you.
Mr. Larson. Nothing, thank you. Mr. Murphy.
Just one thing, my schedule might be a little bit up in the air for the next week or so, so I might have to be gone with very little notice, so I'll try to do my best to make sure that keep you informed, but just want to give you a heads up.
Mr. Gelston,
Nothing at this time.
Mr. Emery,
I have nothing.
anything from department heads? Reed.
Thank you, Mr. President. Just a reminder for everybody that Megan got it onto the city calendar last week, but we have the open houses scheduled for the rec improvement concepts that we shared last month with the council. The first one is next Tuesday at the VFW Arena from 5 to 6:30 p.m. And there's a couple more throughout the month scheduled after that located around town. So hopefully everybody that wants to see the plans and has questions can come out to those. And we're working on getting an online forum recorded to be able to have that available with an online survey too for people to give feedback through the month of November.
Reed, if you, I'm not sure if you want to just share about how the Civic Arena is a first now in the state.
Yeah, so thank you. The Civic Center, we restarted that last week, and we did have a compressor issue on the first compressor. It's number one, but it's our secondary. The lead compressor is running well. The backup or the secondary compressor that cycles on and off throughout the day, we had a couple of pistons that blew on it. Now, the good news with that is that it was an 8-cylinder. It's now operating as a 6-cylinder, and it's operating better than it was as an 8-cylinder so far. But we do have a contingency in place. We have a compressor at the shop with the maintenance company that's got the job to do the retrofit next spring now once the parts come in. They have a compressor that's there. It's a used compressor, but it's there, and they're getting it ready so that if and when we have another issue pop up, they've got something ready to bring over and get put in place as quickly as possible. But that was, to David's point, the person that does the maintenance on the compressors. It was the first time he's ever turned an 8-cylinder into a 6-cylinder. So we're learning a little bit as we go here, but for the moment, everything is running as well as we can expect. And they opened for high school practices yesterday. Thanks.
Can you make sure you post that quorum might be present if the council shows up to these also? Just in case, when he has these, like next Tuesday after our work session and we show up there just to see what's going on?
All of the meetings are posted under the public notice on the website as well as on the calendar, but I will go and update them that a quorum may be present.
Anybody else have anything? If not, entertain a motion to adjourn. Moved by Johnson, second by Helms. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Motion is carried. Meeting is adjourned.
Everybody should say it at the same time, then really mess them up. What do you want?